Opinions expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect that of radio station WVLT, Clear Communications Incorporated, staff and management, or our sponsors. WVLT, Clear Communications Incorporated, retains the right to record all phone calls received during this program for future promotions.
Good evening, this is Doug Albrecht, and I'm here with
Steven Solof.
Steve Solof, and we're basically, tonight's show is going to be I want to first explain, or at least have Steve explain what he does, and then you'll understand the second part of what we're going to do, and I think it's, actually, before we get started, I just want to make sure that there are several events coming up this weekend. It's Health Awareness Month, or Mental Health Awareness Month, and there will be a walk and kind of an outreach on South Island Park, or Mayor Cameron's Park in Violent. And there's a lot of things going on this week. I'll just ask. We'll chime in as we go, as I remember them. So, but Steve, why are you here? What do we start with?
What are you doing here, Mr. Solof?
And how? It's probably been 3-4 years. We've been.
It's been about maybe 2 or 3.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
We're bumping it. That Steve's basically came to a commission meeting first, right?
I'm not sure if I came to the commissioner meeting first or the Republican breakfast first.
Okay.
You know, it's been 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that's it. But the idea was you were asking. Basically, you were trying to ask basic information about the candidates running. Mm-hmm. So you thought that people, if I'm saying this right,
sure,
that you wanted to let people know we weren't doing a good enough job letting people know what we stood on.
You know, to be fair, I, like a lot of people, grew up maybe not paying attention to local politics. And so that first year, I got the sample ballot in the mail. And I said to myself, well, I'm paying attention to politics more now because of all the stuff that's happening with, like, Trump and Republicans versus Democrats. You know, there's...
Yeah, this is normal stuff.
Right. And so I said, you know, I'm going to look these people up on the internet before I cast my vote to see who they are and what they stand for, so that I cast a meaningful vote as opposed to just voting blind.
He wanted to know. So.
Right. I just wanted to know what the information was. So I started Googling and couldn't find anything. Started messaging people on social media, sending letters in the mail, sending emails, whatever I could. And it took about 6 weeks before I finally got in touch with Mayor Finucci, and then he told me about the Republican breakfast, and that's when the connection started.
You said it on both sides. You wanted to know information on both sides. You weren't, when I say both sides, Democrat, Republican, whoever was running. You wanted to reach out. You reach out to everybody, right?
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I thought.
I mean, growing up in my family, we were relatively apolitical. You know, my parents had their leanings or whatever, but it's not like it was the major topic of discussion at the dinner table or anything like that. So I come in fairly neutral. Now, I know some of my friends
are neutral.
Well, no, I'm saying they've seen my progression over the years, so they're gonna think I have certain biases or whatever, and you know, that's fair. You know, I do have my opinions and all that kind of stuff, but I always try to, at least at first, give everybody a fair platform to just make their case, so I can objectively look at the information, and then when I look it all over, I'll make my vote.
And you've continued to do that since I've known you. You've come up and you've always asked. You know, you kind of know us now. A lot of us, not everyone, because sometimes we have new candidates. So on both sides, you always seem to want to know. I've seen you at different events that, you know, I haven't seen you really asking, but I'm sure that's what you're doing, or you're just listening. Maybe just listening.
Sure, that's half of it. I just did an interview with Lorraine Smith the other day, and this very point came up, where we both kind of came across the saying, God gave you 2 eyes and 2 ears and only 1 mouth, and maybe there's something to that, as in, first take in the information, then formulate your opinion and start voicing it so that you can be a meaningful part of the discussion as opposed to just somebody who's like, well, I think this because I heard some random person say that and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to think anything on. So that's basically where your starting point was, which is actually a good starting point. That to kind of say, I want to know. I just want to know, just for my own sake. But in reality, you've kind of gone from there to kind of say, listen, I've gathered the information, and now do you have a podcast now that you?
I mean, so what I do primarily is I have a website that I consider an information hub. So all the information that I've gathered goes on informthevoteng.com so that people can read over what I've gathered and hopefully make their opinions for themselves. Now, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know how people will interpret this, but some of my own opinion has been coming out a little bit more just to kind of get people to participate more. You know, the primary objective is to just ask people what their platforms are and share it. But through the frustrations over the past couple of years, it sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know what I mean? So I understand it could be coming across a little bit assertive or aggressive sometimes, but you gotta ask. You gotta ask. You gotta keep showing up.
I'll just say this. Sometimes we're so busy with things we're doing that we don't really take the time to stop. We do, and I point out this because this is our newest thing come out, but we do, but it doesn't really say much. It really is. It's an introduction. It's actually meant to kind of say, hey, here's what we're running. It doesn't give details, and sometimes you can't give details because the more details you got, more explanations. So you try to be generic on purpose. That doesn't answer the questions that people have. Go ahead. I'm kind of lucky, and I am lucky that now I've been a commissioner for a few years that I get a chance to finish my thoughts, to tell what I'm doing. Some people, maybe if they tune into the television or radio, they hear that you have to get that position to do that. Sometimes you don't get that opportunity. That you get 10 seconds or 30 seconds or 60 seconds to say what you, and people don't. They can't. Some can make out a decision. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you bumping that person out on the street or a corner or knocking on your door. That you get a chance to ask the questions.
And to be fair, you guys only have 24 hours in a day, right? So if a constituent doesn't want you to talk their ear off, maybe something like this flyer is more appropriate. They just want to trust you're the guy who's been doing the thing. I think you should vote for so-and-so because X, Y, and Z, and they'll only want to talk about it for 2 minutes. Not everybody's like me, who's going to dive deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole.
But I'll just say that there are people out there that I have knocked on their door. And I remember one person in Millville, she was very informative. It was getting late, it was getting dark, and I wanted to finish like 3-4 of our houses, but she pulled up, she was getting her groceries. I don't like walking up with someone just getting there because who is this person walking? Yep. She says, I introduced myself from a distance, and she says, just wait it. So she went, put her stuff away, and so the lights get darker. And we sat on the porch for probably an hour and a half. She asked, let's say 45 minutes. She was asking a lot of good questions, and it was she wanted to know. She had met me before, and it was, to me, I was like, well, I really would have liked to hit this, but this is a great opportunity. I'd rather talk to this person because she may know 25 other people that, just because I sat here and answered her question. She used to work for the city of Millville at the time. She went somewhere else. She was very knowledgeable. This is the year she retired. This is years, and it was a great conversation with and I'm just sitting on her porch, so literally sitting on her porch, talking to her. Right. I love that stuff.
So I'm not the only one who asks too many questions.
No. And actually, that's a good point because if, like I said, you're starting to know a lot more people. I don't know how many people you know before, but you ask questions, but people are going to turn to you and say, all right, Steve, Who do you think? And
I was actually just putting out lawn signs, and some guy pulled up in his truck, and he's like, "Well, who should I vote for?" And I was like, "I don't even know yet. I'm still looking over the information."
You gotta be like, "Oh, I know. Here it is. I don't know what side you're." But
maybe if he and I get a beer at the bar, I'll open up a little bit more. But if you're just a random dude in your truck, I don't know.
But that's good that people do ask, and people want to know because most people don't have the time to invest.
Oh, it's a lot.
Their family and their work, and it's tough to know all the ins and outs and who. So what you're doing is actually kind of a service, a good service to allow people to, all right, ask the questions they want to ask. They have no time to ask. You're going to give them the shortcut. And so that's why I will say this. That's why Steve's here. Basically, he would do this at a restaurant, or where would you done this if I didn't do this on the radio? Where would you?
Actually, my new favorite place is the Millville Public Library. I called actually the Cumberland County Library because I knew that was one of your projects, right? But they were doing some kind of a book sale the weekend I called, and it just worked out at the Millville Public Library.
So the library actually, as a community building, is perfect for having something like this, and actually more forums should be held at the library like this. So, but you normally be talking just me and you one-on-one, right? It would be so me and you
or
one-on-one with Tori by running.
If she wanted to come, it's totally fine. Yeah,
would be there. We would answer the questions. We would answer the questions, and but you would have put it. Where would you put it besides this? Where would you show it different? You would have just wrote it up, put it on this website.
Yep, the website, and I also advertise on Instagram and Facebook so that they can be redirected to the website.
So I kind of said, well, I do the show on Monday. The people are listening and do it on Monday. I thought this might be a good opportunity to kind of Steve can ask questions and try to give you the best answer so you understand where I am running for re-election.
But you're unopposed in the primary.
Unopposed in the primary, but there's I think on the other side there's 3 people running on this side, so they're having an active primary, and so we're knocking on doors. We started knocking on doors and bringing our stuff out, and I've run with Victoria 3 years ago. Ran with her, and we're doing it again, and she's a commissioner also, so we both were won, and I, this is good for us to get. This is good to get. I want you to ask questions because I can't ask myself questions.
Right.
I tell people all the time, as you hear me talk, what I feel, what I believe, but it might be better to hear it and
let's just dive right in there.
Let's go.
So my surface level thinking, putting myself back to 2 years ago.
If you want to call it, it's 856 696-0092. So if we hit a chord, please call in.
Sure.
All right, thanks.
So if I transport back in time to when I first opened up that primary ballot and I didn't know who anybody was, if I saw the word incumbent, you're the guy and Victoria is the woman already doing the job. And if I'm unaware that there are any core problems going on, I would just assume if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just don't think about it too much and maybe vote for the people who are already doing it. But I also don't want to make that assumption. So
it depends on the perspective. If someone has had a problem, they haven't got an answer. To them, everything's personal, and so it implies that they. It's not broken, don't fix it. It depends on the person.
Sure.
What's going on.
So I guess then the general direction I'm going in is what maybe are 2 or 3 core important issues that you guys are currently working on.
This coming up, we're introducing the budget, which is a very important. We have a new CFO, so it's a kind of a little twist different. But so far, we just so you know, since we've been running the board, the Republicans, we have not raised taxes in 2 years, and I believe we're going to continue that. And so, being fiscal and conservative, which I am, we find a different way of doing things. And it's not like you don't spend money, but you spend money wisely, and you make sure that what you're doing reaps rewards. And one of our here's another core thing is that when we were started this, that the Cumberland County was when I started this, we were 21 out of 21 in almost every category you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But my first year as director, which is 2 years ago, we moved in our health outcomes from 21st to 20th, and you're like, wow, that's a 20th. That still sucks.
You gotta take one step at a time, though, right?
We've never been above 21, and never. And we raised it to 20. My first, which was, I'm very proud of that. And I'll say I'll take the credit because we're in charge, but it took a lot of work to get there, and there are a lot of good people working on it. So,
and I imagine it would be tricky, just like with the budget, to relate those two things. If we're the poorest county in the state, then it's going to be tricky to make improvements in all those other areas.
I don't. You say it, and people ought to dismiss it. I don't like that. If you spend your money wisely, and I'll say this: we've also settled 7 out of our 8 contracts, and when you settle, we have actually raised a lot of our employees. We've raised their pay.
Can you clarify what you mean by 7 out of 8 contracts?
We have 8. We have 8 unions. We've settled 7 out of 8.
Okay.
So we had which were tough negotiations, but we did it. And by doing that, our goal was to raise their wages in order to make them competitive with other areas. We were losing a lot of people in other counties, and I don't want to just raise it for the sake of raising it, but there are people that have skills that they could go elsewhere, and they've taken years of being with us. All of a sudden they moved elsewhere. We're losing that skill, the expertise, and you got to train someone all over again. So you're making
really good steps to keep our good people.
Keep our people, and we've said, listen, this is the first round. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we've made significant strides to bring people up to where not. Better than they've been. I can't say we're the top. We'll never be the top, but we've made an investment in our people, which they're the most important part. That if you keep good people, they'll find a solution to fix a problem. So, with that, there are particular issues we've tried to deal with. When we took over, we had a lot of lawsuits. We've really settled all our lawsuits, and one particular, so our esteemed governor decided to retro all the lawsuits. They didn't sunset. If they were 20 years old, someone had to recollect that something happened to them, they could sue us. So all of a sudden we had to deal with people that we had issues that we've solved, but I must have had the problem 20 years ago. I could sue. Has to do with our jail. 20, 15-year-old. We didn't even have employees that remember handling this person, and we were getting sued. So we had to settle those also.
Just to clarify,
make sure you did. That's
because I half know what you're referring to, but it's still fuzzy to me because I can't go down every rabbit hole. So basically, there was a lot of lawsuits related to the county jail.
Yes, we were getting inundated. We had federal oversight. We had I'm going to say state oversight. Well, I could be wrong about that. We had a lot of oversight, and we had there were a lot of things that weren't run well. Now we have some good leadership in there. We brought a director in that started straightening it out. We brought a warden in that works with it. We've stabilized our workforce. We were so far down in people. We've actually got, I think, and I'll take this. We have a lot. We have about 13 to 15 people and I take that with a grain of salt, in the academy that may become correction officers. That we're shorthanded. I don't want to say all the numbers. We're shorthanded, but we're getting better, and actually people are starting to look at it as a good job again. And we up the pay. Like I said, it's not the greatest job in the world. It's a tough job, but there's a lot of tough jobs out there people do. So we're looking for people. Our sheriff's department, we've did those also. That we have a very active sheriff's department. They're actually just are helping the city of Millville because Millville is short-handed. They've actually gone to Millville. So they're actually working the city of Millville. This is teamwork, and our sheriff has extended that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of PR coming from Sheriff Donato.
Sheriff Donato, he's not just a talker; he does, and that's what's kind of nice about it. If he can do it, our sheriff steps forward and does it. That department has come to life, and I'll say this: we have sheriffs that are actually doing police work, and we're very proud that they're doing that. And he's turned that to make it an active law enforcement agency in this county. And actually, the Sheriff's Department is one of the most powerful organizations in the state. They can go to any county. The state troopers being the only other one I can think of, but they actually have more ability to do more. But we've never been able to do that because we never. But now we are doing it with Cumberland Star Sheriff Donata, who's has pulled it together and organized it, and if they can help, they help. And City of Millville being I do want to reach out that teamwork extends elsewhere. The City of Bridgeton just recently led the fire truck and an ambulance to the City of Millville because during that fires they lost two of their trucks and one they were down in the ambulance. That to me is a compliment to the City of Bridgeton for stepping forward and helping the City of Millville. It says a lot. It says volumes for how our communities work together. And I say that they led the river. The City of Violet response helps right away. It's helping the City of Millville through it. So it's the townships jump in there. It's teamwork, and it's very it's a good thing. It's a very and I think that's I'll say that I think that's the way it should be all through up and down government, and I think the county does help. Well, when they're asked, we jump in. Notice the sheriffs, we jump in and try to help as best we can. You can easily call us. The commissioners are available if you know one of us to pick up the phone and call. We try to get back to you, try to solve a problem the best we can. If it's possible, we don't solve everything, but we try. So, but the townships are very important. The cities are very important, and I think there's a lot more talk and conversation now than we've ever had before. And I'll take that as a compliment to us. What we've done.
Well, yeah, that's great. I mean, those fires were national news stories, and it's really good to see that when push comes to shove, we can come together and solve problems. That is to say, and I'll give you this one. This is like 2 years ago. We have a culvert that fell in Bridgeton, and it fell in 2 years before that. Is that the South
Avenue culvert? Yeah. And we bypassed opened it by bypassing, making Cedar. I always say the name wrong. The street that runs south, we made it 2 ways, and it crosses the South Avenue, bypassing the culvert. But when it was asked about looking into it, we not only had all the commissioners there that showed up, we had at that time District 1 and 3 Assembly and Senate candidates there. And it was funny because the City of Bridgeton, the mayor, made a comment about that. This is the first time I've had all the elected officials on a problem in the City of Bridgeton, which said a lot because and
it sounds like things are moving in the right direction.
That to me was a compliment to everybody that we understood it was a problem. So let's get together, figure out. And now the state would help us. The 8 different permits later, we're finally, I think we got it. We put the money aside. We actually contract out, drew up the plans already, but can't touch it until we get every permit. And I've never seen so many permits.
And just to clarify even my own understanding, you said that the culvert fell down or fell in?
Collapsed.
Okay, so that, and then culvert is a new word for me. Like, what technically is that?
Well, I guess it's almost like a bridge over. The culvert's underneath it. It's like an opening to let water flow in and out from the tide coming in, and it collapsed. And it said, "Oh, just go and fix it." Well, yeah, that would be the easiest thing. But we had to get gypsum permits. We had to get
all the red tape.
Yeah, right? You name it. We had to talk to the Army Corps of Engineers. We had to get the state preservation, because there was a railroad track left over from a trolley track that was there, which is historic, but there's only one track left.
Part of the point you're trying to get across is, I guess, the general public, sometimes they see a problem and they expect you to come in and like flick a light switch, and it's not that simple.
And we had done everything we could to get ready to go, and I'll say this though, and I'm going to say that because I actually asked to go talk because there was a lot of people feedback about back and forth about it, and we're going to forget about it. We're going to forget. Well, we didn't forget about it. We just can't do it. And I actually went to a church on a Sunday, which Angie Edwards actually I asked her if she would let me talk in front of a group, and I went to the church and was able to speak. The pastor was very nice, and it was packed. We had a good crowd. Probably it's a huge place, and spoke on what we were doing and why. And really, nobody had any real questions. They understood we were working on it, but we had bypassed it. That it was okay. They could get around. Mm-hmm. But I'll say this: that neighborhood, which I have a customer back in that neighborhood. That neighborhood has come to life as it used to have traffic that ran like 60, 70 miles an hour right down the middle, 2 lanes. It was cut off that people could actually hear themselves think. You actually saw people walk in the neighborhood. They actually built new housing there,
right?
And it actually came to life. You heard me make a comment the other day about this.
So you're basically bringing up the point that it's returning to more of a suburban or rural feel, as opposed to the cars whizzing by and everybody's afraid to play in the street or whatever.
So we'll after we fix it, then I think people will also figure that out. That's more important, the quality of life, that road trip around, which we stopped. So we'll figure it out. So, cool. All right, I didn't mean to get off on that because
no, that's great. That's exactly the kind of thing that I was hoping to get into. So, but then to move on, some other things that have come up over the past couple of years as I've been paying attention. This issue of the Nabb extension. To my understanding, it's an issue that's been going on for decades, on and off.
Well, in 2012, they had a report on extended Nabb Avenue. It was done by the city of Millville, I believe. And I actually, when I got to be director, talking to the city of Millville, I considered it the number one economic development issue in the county. And why? Why?
Well, should we, just for anybody who's not already familiar with it, do you want to explain it?
There's a road called Nabb Avenue. It's actually Morton Avenue. Morton Avenue extends all the way to 49. It actually goes from Deerfield to Millville, and they changed names to Nabb Avenue.
And part of the point is that the trucks coming off of 55
could take this route, but it stops at 49, Route 49. Well, Nabb Avenue extensions to extend that. There's only one property owner, and they've agreed to cut a straight line through their property, which and we used a carrot. We did not, which I don't like beating up business. I'm a businessman myself, so we used a carrot. What the value of us doing this, not only for their own truck traffic to get it off the farm, their quarters where there will be a light will be more valuable to them.
And the carrot, you mean like you're giving them some type of incentive?
Yeah,
you do it?
Yeah. Here's why. Because we could eminent domain. We could have done that. That would have been easy. But that's not.
It's kind of rude, right?
Yeah, I don't believe in that. And we had a talk and but they were, after they saw it, they were like, yeah, this is a good idea. This works.
Yeah.
We would make sure the farms were tied together. We would have like an overpass of the road so they could connect both sides of the farm. We also, when we got in there, we saw a lot of erosion that we can help them with that. We did another farm out in Shiloh, out that area, Stoke Creek, Shiloh, that was having the same kind of problem. We went in there and helped with their water issue, and saved them. They cut their water, their cost to 1/12 of what it was.
Nice.
And we told them, they were like, get out of here. So they were actually like, you can do this too. I mean, literally, they had to move dirt around every once in a while because the water would run and push the dirt somewhere. And they were very happy when we heard that. So.
Right. So we've kind of set the picture of what the issue is, and then the last update I heard about that.
Well, let me add why we're doing it. You want to know why, or?
I guess to help increase the economic traffic and activity in Millville, right?
Well, not just Millville. It's the whole western side of the Morris River. They open it up for recreation, for the airport. The airport is there. The Millville Airport is a hidden gem in this county that we want to make it operate. We want to enhance its operation. It has industrial parks at either end, or actually the ability above it could be with 400 acres above it open, that that Avenue could really make that whole area come to life, including Lawrence Township, Fairfield Township, even down to commercial Morris River Township. So it's really the western side of the river opens everything's kind of on the eastern side.
It would be a
western,
whole cornucopia of economic activity.
I like the way. But let me say this: that the city of Millville has actually put their money where their mouth is. They've actually created I'm drawing a blank now. They've actually opened the door for a company that will create something, whatever it is, economic development. They have a pilot. And then there's 2/3 more. If we build this road, they will do 2 more steps of what they promised to do, and so they've actually put it out. They've also invested in their industrial park. So for Millville, they're letting it ride. So it's our goal to get it done. It's not cheap, but
so then the ultimate point being, like, where does it stand now?
Right now, we're kind of in limbo. We've actually drawn it up. We know that there's a roundabout on their property that's going to be built at the end. It's really it's at the beginning phase, but at least we've planned out the route. We've talked. We haven't come any negotiation what the cost to give us the land, or we're buying the land. But it's actually kind of limbo where we had earmarks to help us at the House side and the Senate side, but they got pulled because the reconciliation bill, you can't have earmarks.
Is that National House and Senate?
Yes.
Okay.
The federal government, they put the Senate put 1.7 aside and the House is 1.45 or something, but it got pulled, and that was to give us money to actually let's get the land purchased, and then we can get the...
Okay. So you guys, just from my understanding, you had all the planning set, it went down to the federal, and then the federal pulled it.
Yeah, it was just earmark. It's not the whole project. The project's going to be on us, and the city of Millville's going to contribute. So it really is.
Would you say then it's just a work in progress that'll happen sooner?
It's a work in progress, and people actually know that it's important, and we just got to keep pushing. That's all.
Right. Okay.
All right. We've also done a study of the Morris River, recreational-wise, because it is wild and scenic, to take advantage of that. More places to get into the river, to work, to attract more people. Even down near the bridge, the Port Elizabeth Bridge, the North Port Elizabeth Bridge, they're planning a boat ramp there. But that's independent of us. This is where the townships are doing their thing, and we'll tie it all together. So... All right, I want to go all into that.
No,
but last week,
good.
If you listened to the show last week, I even had pictures of the Nabb Avenue extension, but you're asking about it, which is important. So
sure.
Yeah.
Then similarly, when I first got involved, the big topic was the middle mile broadband grant, and so that's another thing that I haven't heard a significant update on, I guess, in a year or so.
We
do you want to set the tone for everybody first? Like, what is the middle mile?
The middle mile is a fiber optic network that Salem and Cumberland joined forces to build around to fill a hole that we did not have communication-wise. And during COVID, it was a problem that our kids could not, in their homes, get when people take advantage of internet service, they could not. Since then, some upgrades. Comcast and Verizon be the biggest entities, but there's a service they do not provide, even though whatever they said, they never really had a solution. But that's my opinion. Take me with a grain of salt. But it was proposed that the Nabb Avenue is the middle mile is a ring that people can then buy into. They can connect.
So you mean the ring of fiber that goes around the county?
So that's just Salem County.
That's like a starting point, so that the townships and municipalities and the service providers could finish connecting to the homes.
That's right, and it's run into. There's a term for it, but we would then build. If you picture like a spinal cord, then you have circles around, and then you have lines going around like a ladder. That's how it would be built. That people would connect. And so, Steve, you have a business. you're in, let's say you're down in Morris River Township, and you want to do business, the internet business, whatever it is you're doing, you can connect in Morris River Township and have customers in Salem, Woodstown. You can have customers in Alway. You can have customers in Violin, and you're just Joe. You're the Steve, but you can literally compete with Verizon, with T-Mobile, with Comcast, because they would have to build connections. You're building connections. You're connected, and I've had everybody say we got $24 million grant. We kicked in between sale a little less than $10 million. We actually took a very conservative tilt because we actually built our 700 antenna system, and we used that as kind of a kick into it. We underestimate that, so we actually have to kick in like $3.3 million to it. But we've hired a group, a company. That company's was not from New Jersey, and it's tough to manipulate around our DEP. So they've gotten bogged down on a few things. Meanwhile, Salem County is rolled right along. They actually, I think they just got $12 million of BEAD money. BEAD is that lattice that goes across like a ladder. They got money.
Is that the N mile grant?
It's the N mile stuff.
Right. So
and it's not
people
BEAD,
out there.
It's not BEAD, but it's like BEAD.
It's the thing that actually connects the ring to the end user.
Yeah, to the house, which is what we're aiming for. They are actually doing it without the middle mile. And the city of Violin got a grant. So the Cumberland County did not even apply. So people cry about it, that my colleagues, how do we get that? Well, we just missed out from applying for a good chunk of money to do that. So Salem is gung-ho. The city of Violin is doing the smart city concept. Ours is dark fiber. I'm sorry to these terms, but dark fiber, so someone has to light it up for us. We're just providing the highway. That's what the middle mile. It's a highway.
Right.
It's not technology. It's a wire. It's a fiber optic.
It's a basic infrastructure.
It's a basic infrastructure. To me, that's perfect for what government do. We can build roads. We can build sewer. We can run a fiber optic. Other people have to light it up.
So then, I guess just to again get to that ultimate point, where does it stand now?
Stand right down to the standstill because it's not a priority to some of my colleagues. So you know where I stand. You've heard me. You've heard me.
Yeah.
I am a very big supporter because I saw when we did not have the communication what we did to help our kids. Kids are sitting outside of McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or Wawa trying to get internet service.
Right.
Our library is connected because by state rules it has to be connected and to fiber optic. It is, so it is a good hub.
But you're trying to push to more of a 2025 modern day standard where, I mean, just to put it to you this way,
2025 to get us into the 2050s and 60s.
Well, sure, but I mean,
I
guess relate it indirectly. When I was traveling in Thailand and Vietnam, I'd be out in rural roads and have internet connection, and I guess this is a similar rural scenario. But
I called one of my commissioners who was in Costa Rica in the rainforest, and I called. I didn't know she was there. The call, and the bottom line is, you have internet. Thanks a lot. Thanks for Cumberland County struggle. So, but I say that Verizon's improved a little with Comcast because there's competition that they have improved. Hopewell went on a limb, and I remember being the first time I went to one of their meetings. I always remember they knew everybody there, but they didn't know me. And I said, "Well, I'm Doug Albrecht. I'm the county commissioner." They go, "Well, why are you here?" And I explained it. Then they went into about a 45-minute spiel about the internet and with the fiber optics running, and they were going to make a deal with Comcast. They said, "We're on the 5-yard line. Where are you guys?" I said, "We're not on the 5-yard line, so you got to do what you got to." And they decided to commit to. And also Morris River Township also did it, but that's to hook up a house that's 2 miles from the road, and that's what the middle mile, the end mile is meant to do, is to make competition that people get a better deal. We're going to run over both those townships, and I'll go even further. We're in the Cumberland County and I guess elsewhere, they have the power. These data centers are coming. Violet's got it on the books. It was the largest investment in Cumberland County was a proposal from it, and it's been proposed in other areas because we have land, we have open areas where we have power, and we need more power. Every area needs power. That's a big thing in these. We can do that, and the bottom line is that we have everything they need, and if we have the fiber optic ability to get the information out, which they're doing themselves a lot of, but connect our middle mile will make us even more attractive. And so God, I don't mean to go. I could talk for a couple hours.
That's good.
To me, the middle mile.
That's actually a good segue point for me, because it's reminding me of something that I brought up at one of the commissioner meetings. I think it was last year, but it was kind of like a collaborative idea between me and Commissioner Cilio, where a lot of these questions where, what's going on with Nabb and what's going on with Middle Mile, and what else have you guys been working on recently? What do you think about bringing up a quarterly report so that all the things that you've been accomplishing and all the well-known issues, they're just generally addressed, so that, somebody who's somewhat involved like me, I can just read this 2-3 page report, and
that's probably the one thing we don't do well, is get what are we doing. I said at one time, one of the breakfasts, I go, we do that's, and I'll take, we work, we put our head down, we work, there's a problem, we try to solve it, and we don't really jump up and down. And I'm very proud about my colleagues and our Senate, our Assembly people. We just do. We work.
Yeah.
And that's not always good, because in this game, in politics, people, you got to tell people what you're doing and why.
It's like the if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it. Well, then
so and that's not good. You got to make sure. And people sometimes say, they're just too narrow. Well, that's because sometimes people got to know what we're up to, and if you know me, and you've known me long enough, I believe that meetings should be open. When I say open, we should be asking, we should be telling people what we're doing. I had some individuals on this radio station bash because we talking about, there are some things we cannot talk out front. We're not allowed to. Labor issues, attorney issues, strategy. We're not allowed to talk to. We just have to do it in the back. We just have to talk about it, because if we don't talk, we're allowed to by statute. Always we tell people what we're going to basically talk about, and we can't go outside those lines.
Right.
We get cautioned. The solicitor's right on top. You can't speak about that. You can't talk about that. So, but when I was director, I thought I was actually very open. We have kind of a mixed board, and we actually talked about stuff. I like that. My colleagues think some little different than I do, but I always believe the more people know, and I'm going to give you a perfect example of which there was something that came up. The gentleman asked a question, and at that time it had some legal things, so I couldn't tell him. So I said, can you I will tell you what I can tell you. And because I think we were so open, letting people know what we're doing, he goes, all right, Doug, no problem. So when it came time for me to tell him, I go, hey, can you ask that question you asked 2 meetings ago? He says, he was thinking that, oh yeah. And he got up and asked the question. I said, all right, now I can give you the answer.
Right.
But what the credit was, I believe, was the idea that we were open enough that he allowed us to the benefit of the doubt that we come back and give him.
Yeah, there's that baseline trust.
To me that was even, I like that even more than the question or what. I don't even know what he asked, but it was something with the legal, but that showed me a lot that he was willing to say, all right, Doug, when you're ready, you'll tell me, and I did. So and I took that as a compliment. And anytime, if people know, I mean, since I've been in office and I was the city councilman, I spoke a lot, because I always picture myself when I was out in the audience, when I wanted to know something. Sometimes you couldn't make out the wording, I didn't know what was, and I knew the subject, and I didn't know what they wanted. I thought people should know what we're voting on, why we're voting on it, and what is the consequences of it.
Sure.
And it didn't make me very popular with my colleagues, but I didn't really care. That was because I just pitched myself in the audience. I sometimes had no clue what they were asking, even though it was the subject I was knowledgeable enough.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to when I opened up that sample ballot for the first time. I'm like, I don't know what any of these people or who these people are, or what they're standing for. And so that's part of my service, I guess you could say. I want the other people in the community who are clueless, and they don't have to spend 6 months to 2 years trying to unravel everything.
That's what you're trying to shorten. So I sometimes I ask questions. People say, "Well, you should know that answer." I do know the answer. I'm asking the question so other people can hear the answer. I love that. I know the answer, but someone else may not know the answer. Now someone's getting it. My CFO is talking, or the solicitor's talking, or another colleague that's pushing it, an idea. They're telling the idea, so people hear what I hear, so they can make a decision. Because I think if you're upfront and honest with people can make a decision, and they go, okay, now I understand why they're doing it. I get it. So, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, or why they do it, or I don't like what they're doing. So, and now I know, and that's okay. So not everybody's going to agree with us, what we're doing sometimes, but as long as we're doing it for the right reason, I'm okay with it. So, okay. I don't know if there's other things you want to get on. I just got. Is there anything else?
I got about 4 more things we can talk about if you want.
Because Nabb having stuff and
no. I mean, you gave me the update. So. You told me what you've been doing, and it's basically at a stalemate, and it is what it is.
We just got a grant for the senator Testa got with others got us a grant to help for advanced manufacturing, which is a big cause of his, and to help our CCTEC bring our students into not only learning a trade, but also bringing the trade to the next level for our manufacturing facilities in the county, help them get better, and that ties into the school, but not all the time. Sometimes it's just a trade you're learning, and you may have. Before we started, I talked about an employee I had that I thought the kid was very smart, really smart, and in my business he was probably too smart or took too long to figure out, or so taken from doing this task because he's
trying
thinking the next
reverse engineer the car instead of just fixing it.
With that said, I thought he would be a perfect candidate to be advanced manufacturer. He would really, really enjoy it, the bottom line is I wanted him to pursue that. I think he would have been really good. That's the kind of stuff that when I'm seeing, there's other people to see the same thing in people that they would be perfect at it. And I did ask him, how were you in school? He said, well, I didn't do the thing. Well, in this case, this is a guy that if he could see it, he would apply himself and be really good at it. So he'd be really. So I just threw that out there.
Always got to find the right role for the person.
Yeah, and I think that would be his career. And he would do very well, much better than with us, and really set himself. So, who's this guy again? Steve
Solof.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, you
somebody's
got fans.
Calling.
All right, well, we'll wait. So. All right, so you understand that I wanted to throw that out to you. Sure. That's coming too, and
it's a good step forward.
Yeah. This is another thing that may not know, and I think I said this last Monday, but our ratables in the county are up.
They said up $1 billion.
I didn't add them all together, but it was a lot.
You said something like that, and my only question with that was under what time frame?
Year. It goes from year to year. So.
Oh wow! Our ratables went up $1 billion this past year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So remember, there's 2 ways to raise revenue for the government operation. You have to keep costs down, but you raise taxes, which we're not, or you could make our economy go, increase our ratables, and that make the house better, build more houses, or the plant or the company do the grow, to hire more people. That helps them to become more valuable, and the land more valuable, and that helps us be. So, but you can't also explode spending either. You got to control that, and then you grow. And then,
the ratables don't mean anything.
You know,
spend it all.
you spend it all, and we're not. So that's I hope we continue that. That's the goal. When we started this was to help increase ratables, and that's the best reflection that you're actually growing, and hopefully people are prospering from that. That's not government prospering. That's people doing their thing and prospering. We've reaped the benefits from it, though. So
yeah, it's great. Well, then let's move on to a couple ideas that I've come up with over the past couple years as I've been going down this rabbit hole.
Okay.
So the whole idea of the website is to inform the voters of their choices and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I've noticed is even myself, I sometimes don't even understand how some of these processes work. So in the sense of, I didn't even know what a county surrogate was when I looked up on the ballot the first year. And sometimes I'll ask questions to people who'll say, oh, well, that's more of a state related issue, and then it's like, well, then I got to figure out who's at the state and then how do I make that connection, blah, blah, blah. Basic point being, and I've seen some outreach from the Republicans recently, which is really good. They've been bringing students either to Trenton or they've been going to the schools. We got 5 minutes, I think he's saying.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, right. So, and these are great steps, but, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if the state mandates that local civics be a part of school curriculum.
I said that at one of the veterans things, that I think civics should be taught. Well, and I had a teacher yell out, we do teach civics. It's not the same civics as when I was in school.
Right.
And actually, that's why I guess I'm doing today. I really love being involved with, it was political legal education, PLE they called it, Model Congress, did boy state thing. I really enjoy. I did work on Capitol Hill. I worked for Bill Hughes, Congressman Bill Hughes, and Senator Bill Bradley. I was in Maryland, so I had really good teachers and taught that believed that rubbed off of me that the love of what we do in this country and how good it is, and it started, I guess, in English to moving them to civics, and so I think there may be a lot of we're not perfect in this country, we're not by far, but there's a lot of good things in this country.
Sure.
And actually, this conversation we're having here doesn't take place in many other places in the world. Just this basic conversation, and we take it for granted that you can raise them. And we've talked about different government things. You're not allowed to do that elsewhere. You're not allowed to criticize or talk about or express your opinion different than what the well, here we can, and actually that's unique. And there's other. Well, you think, England and Canada. No, there are a lot of rules. You can't do certain things. You can't just stand on a corner. Just stand on a corner.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, this is what I learned that in school and had an appreciation of it. So, civics, to go back to stop bashing this country. We're not perfect. Learn the history, all the history, to understand things we did wrong, because we don't repeat it. But don't dwell on that. Put up with the stuff we did do right.
Yeah.
That we have a constitution. Yeah, and we take it for granted, but we really were. I mean, England had the Magna Carta, an agreement, but our constitution was unique.
Yeah.
And people have copied it, but they still can't survive. Somehow we put it together. We're having tough issues how we deal, because compromise is the key to our government. When we stop compromise, which we're not doing like we did, will this go away? It'll go away quickly.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess more to the point, you would be in favor of having curriculum that would specifically teach, like, how does your city council work? How does the county commissioner board work? What's the difference between a state senator and a U.S. senator?
Yeah, we were talking about the other day. We're running out of time, but I would be in favor of that. The more they know about it, actually, remember, local government affects you more than anything in Washington.
Right.
Even at the state, local government affects you more.
And it trickles up.
it goes up because the bottom line is that this trash pickup, sewer, water, the clean water you're drinking, the locals and people forget about it. Oh, it's not important. It's very important who you bring in your local elections, your neighbor, the person you talk to, it gets affected by the same things you do. So that's where it begins at the Board of Ed, at the zoning board, the planning board. That's the local stuff, and that's forget DC. That's where it affects you. In 1 minute here, so anything you want to follow up, Steve? I really appreciate
no,
this.
No.
I don't really get a chance to kind of.
If we bring something else up, he's gonna yell at us.
No, not back. Get out of here. So, just I hope I answered your question. I hope people get a sense of it.
Yeah, it's a great start.
Victoria Lowe's and myself, Doug Albrecht, will run it in the primary. Hopefully, we're successful, and then we'll move to the November the general election. So keep us in mind. If you guys do have questions, please. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye.